Good morning, everybody. Good morning to all my friends, my family, my fans. I appreciate y'all this morning. I appreciate y'all watching these videos. And I got a great word for today. If you will take a moment to go ahead and click like. If you're watching on YouTube, if you go ahead and subscribe to the channel, I appreciate that. That helps this positive message get out in the algorithm and get shown to other people. So first things first, click like, subscribe, leave a comment. I appreciate that. Now on with today's word. This comes from my devotional book, Up Your Averages, a daily guide on how to improve your personal relationship. And today's thought is about power. What it is, what it looks like, and what it's not. The image for today starts out with this here. And the image says, power is not controlling other people. Power is controlling yourself. Trying to control others is the first sign that you're entirely out of control. Controlling others is what weak people think power looks like. So on with the thought of the day. I start out the thought by repeating what the image says. Power is not controlling other people. Power is controlling yourself. Trying to control others is the first sign that you are entirely out of control. Controlling others is what weak people think power looks like. Controlling your emotions while everyone around you are unable to control theirs makes you the strongest person in the room. Often it is not circumstances that dictate an outcome, but instead your response or your reaction to a particular set of circumstances that determine the outcome. Knowing this puts you in control of any situation that you encounter. I want to stop right there. Controlling your emotions while everyone else around you are unable to control theirs makes you the strongest person in the room. Often, it is not what happens to us that determines an outcome. It's how we respond to it. So say a bad situation occurs, a big argument occurs, somebody says something you don't like, you got a choice right there. That's not what happened to you. What happens next is what happened. I'll come back to that thought. Controlling your thoughts, controlling your emotions, and controlling your actions/reactions is the ultimate mastery of self-control. And self-control is the ultimate power. Focus today on not getting your partner to change, but instead on making changes yourself. Lead by example in this arena, not by delegation. No woman respects and admires a weak man. No man is attracted to women who are emotionally out of control. Therefore, if you want your relationship to improve and you want to increase your attractiveness to your partner, then become a master of self-control. So many harsh words will not be said. So many feelings will not be hurt. So many misunderstandings will not happen if you can just learn to control yourself better. When you react emotionally, whether those emotions are good or bad, you are out of control. And people who are out of control have no power. Learn to control yourself and watch your personal relationship improve by leaps and bounds. So let me give you an example. A few years ago, I was working at a restaurant in Dallas. And at the end of the night, all the servers, I was a server, we had to run our checkout and give our money at the end of the night. We turned it in to the bartender, and the bartender would either give us money we had coming back, or they would collect the money that we owed the restaurant. And this was the last step you had to do before you left. You did all your side work, swept the floors, filled the napkins, salt, pepper, all that kind of stuff. And the very last thing you did was your checkout. And then you clocked out and went home. Well, I was one of maybe 7 or 8 servers, and we was ready to do our checkout. And I was the second server. And I'm standing in line. And this bartender, I was kind of new. And this one particular bartender, he didn't like me. I don't know what the issue was. Our personalities just rubbed each other wrong. And I wasn't entirely fond of him myself. And that was mutual. And I'm standing in line, and the guy ahead of me goes, and then it's my turn. I step up to the bartender, and I hand him my check out. And he looks at me, and he says, "Get out of line. I'm not doing your checkout." And all the servers behind me kind of looked at me like, "Whoa, what's that about?" And I stepped out of line. He went on ahead and took the person behind me's check out, and they kind of stepped around me while I was still trying to figure out how to reply. And I felt he was disrespectful. And I felt he was ugly to me without cause. And he embarrassed me in front of all my coworkers because they were all looking at me kind of funny to see if I was going to put up with that. And I want you to know, my very first impulse was to punch this guy in his mouth. How dare you disrespect me like this? I'm waiting in line, I'm waiting my turn, and you're going to just be rude. You're not going to take me. You're going to push me to the side. You're going to take the guy behind me. You're going to delay me getting home. You know, all these justifications had ran through my mind. And I kind of felt myself tense up a little bit because I wanted to slap this dude. And I stopped. I just stood to the side. Everybody kind of looked at me and went on past me. And eventually, before he got to the end of the line, the other bartender come over. There was 2. The other bartender come over, took my paperwork, my check out, and he processed me, gave me my money. I was able to go home. It was about 3 weeks after that. And they put me in manager training. And they wanted me to go to Denver and open up another store in Denver. And I basically got a promotion. They paid me a big bonus to move to Denver. And things kind of worked out for me. But the thing is, what if I hadn't responded like that? What if I'd have took that personal? What if I would not have remained in control of my emotions? And what if I'd have hit this dude in his mouth? Well, if I'd have hit this guy in his mouth, undoubtedly it would have started something. He'd have probably wanted to come across a bar at me, and we'd have probably started a fight right there in the restaurant. And no doubt they would have fired us. I may have even went to jail because I would have hit him first. All these things crossed my mind. But instead, I got promoted. I got a big bonus. I got to go open another store and travel to another state, experience the great state of Colorado for a couple years. All of that happened because I remained in control. Had I lost control, that would have been a totally different outcome. So, what happens to you is not what happens to you. What happens to you is how you react. There's many examples I could sit here and give where something occurred. There was I'll give you another example. Not too long ago, me and Michelle had gotten to a little spat, was arguing a little bit, and I had walked outside and I was aggravated. She might be small and petite, but man, so is dynamite. Comes in small packages and then blows up. So I kind of feel like that sometimes. But there was a little spat, and I think I walked outside, and she was waiting to see how I was going to respond. And if I would have come at her ugly, you can believe she had plenty of ugly to come back at me with. But I didn't do that. Instead, I left the house for a little bit, and when I come back, I had a kind word. I had a compliment for her. I acted like what happened before didn't really happen. And I could tell she was a little confused there right at the beginning. But I changed my attitude. And when I changed my attitude, she changed her attitude. If I'd have walked in the house blowing hard and huffing and puffing and had my feathers all ruffled up, well, no doubt she would have met me the same. I tell my kids all the time, they talk ugly to each other once in a while, and I tell them don't do that. And one of them will say, well, she yelled at me, or she did this to me, she did that to me. And I says, well, you don't respond to ugliness with ugliness. It just makes more ugliness. Now there's twice as much ugliness going on. I say, be the bigger person. Respond to ugliness with kindness. And it'll kill it. It'll kill it. It's like putting a fire extinguisher on a fire or throwing water on a fire. You can get two different outcomes. If you got a grease fire in your kitchen and you take that pan of grease and you throw it off in the sink in the water, man, grease is going to go everywhere and fire is going to go everywhere and your whole kitchen's going to burn up because you responded to the fire inappropriately. But if you got a grease fire in your pan and you remain calm and you reach up and you get you some salt and you pour the salt over the pan, fire will go out. You've saved your whole kitchen. You may have saved the whole house. You put the fire out. It's not that a fire happened. It's how you responded to the fire that determines the outcome. So I just want to give you that word of encouragement today. It's not what happens to you that happens to you. It's how you react to what happens to you that determines what happens to you. If that makes any sense. I appreciate your interest. If you're interested in more tidbits like this here, I got a book full of them. I'll leave a link to the book in the comments. And as always, I appreciate your interest. Thank you.